Salve Skipoli, and welcome to Latin Lessons with Magister Aude. Today, Capitulum 9, Noun Endings, third declension. Okay, so here's something we haven't really talked about. And we haven't really talked about it because we teach Lingua Latina and not WeLox. So, here's the scoop. There are these things in Latin called declensions. Now, this is basically just a super duper duper fancy way of saying the endings on the noun. You already know some of these. So we have done currently what's called first and second declension. Basically, it's the masculine, feminine, and neuter endings. So like if we're saying that something's receiving the action, if let's say Marcus pulsat Julia, we wouldn't say Marcus pulsat Julia, we say Marcus pulsat Juliam. That's to show the direct object ending. So that's pretty standard. That would be first declension, technically. Now, there's this thing called third declension. And what that is, in basic terms, are words that don't start out ending with an us, a, or So it's kind of harder to tell if it's masculine, feminine, or neuter. Words that exist in this, we have the word for sun, we have the word for tree, we have the word for sound or noise, and these are those words. So we have sol, which is sun, we have arbor, which is tree, and we have clamor, which is like noise. I don't know how to really draw that. There, it's like a megaphone, I guess. So, anyways, notice how none of these end with us, a, or Do you see that? Okay. Their endings are also a little bit different. So, if you're saying that the sun is receiving something, like, I don't know, Godzilla is punching the sun. If the sun is receiving a punch, it's hard to know what that would be. So it would actually keep that L, and it would be solem, which is a little different. And I know it is, and I'm sorry. It's a little bit funky, okay? And then same thing, like if the tree, let's say someone's climbing the tree is receiving the action of being climbed, it would be arbor M. It doesn't lose the word itself. Literally, the endings just get added onto the word. Nothing else changes. Because, if it was Marcus and he was receiving the action of being hit, the ending would change like that, right? Or if it was Julia, we would add the M ending. It's different for these words. We just add on to the end of them versus changing the ending. And then same thing with clamor. If you are ahead of me, it would be clamorem. It just adds. So this is something where it can get really confusing when you start using all of the fancy terms like third declension and all of that good stuff. So instead today, what we're going to do is we're just going to practice on our whiteboards and we're going to talk a little bit about them. If you can't tell what the direct object ending is yet, I'll give you a hint. It's M, E-M. So we're going to just do, for right now, direct object endings for these words that are a little bit different looking. And we're going to do them in the singular and then also in the plural. So everybody get out your whiteboards. And we're going to go over some of these. So with the ending, the way that we kind of write this, if we're putting it into our Latin notebooks, is this little dash like that, and then EM. And that equals direct object. Okay. And there are a lot of words in chapter 9 that are like this. A lot of them. Just go through some of the list because I wrote down some of the ones that show up. Sol, arbor, clamor, timor, mons, dens, panis, colis, vallis, nubes. All are third declension. So these are all going to follow this. And most of those are the main words that you're going to have used in this chapter in terms of the nouns. Pastor should also be on there as well. Pastor, the shepherd. So we're going to practice. I'm going to give you a word that's one of these special ones, okay? You are not using You are not using Those are not correct. You're only using this. This is a big old X through it, okay? Do not write or It will be wrong, I promise you. So I'm going to write a word. I want you to write it on your whiteboard with the direct object ending. Hint, the direct object ending is on the whiteboard. It's this. Okay, you don't write the dash on it. That's just to show that it gets added to the end instead of replacing something that's there. Make sense? Great. Let's get rack-a-lackin'. Let's get crack-a-lackin'. I need tea. All right, so let's start with Timor. This is also a helpful review on some of our vocab because some of this vocab might be new to you. Timor, by the way, is fear. It's the noun of fear. I want you to make this a direct object. I don't know how someone would, like maybe they're punching fear, like they've personified fear. They punch fear in the face. I want you to give this a direct object ending. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boards up. Correct answer is Timorem. I'll give you a hint. They're all basically going to be the exact same. All right. Moving on. I want you to do, we'll just do the word for sun. I already did this one, so this will tell me if you're paying attention. Make the word sun, sol, direct object. If you ever need to remember that sol means sun, look, the O turns into a little sun. How fantastic. All right. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boards up. Solem. There we go. All right, next up, let's do arbor. This one's an easier one to imagine. Like someone is climbing a tree, someone is falling from a tree, doing something to the tree, cutting down the tree. Make this direct object. The tree is receiving some kind of action, whether it be climbing, cutting, or, I don't know, putting it up in a house for Christmas. One of these things. Make it a direct object for me in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boards up. Correct answer, arborem. All right. Are we all feeling fairly confident? Hopefully so. Okay, now, the one other thing I need to tell you about. Some of these words, 2 good examples are mons would be a good one, which is mountains, and dens, which is tooth. I'm going to just draw them really fast. Why not? Why not have a few more Mrs. Strackadoodles that aren't that great? So we have mountain and we have tooth. Okay, notice, these end with an S. Now, really quick note. If it ends with an S like this, it won't become monsem when it's a direct object. That's not going to happen. If it ends with an S like this, and it's kind of specific to just these 2, and I'll get into it because it's going to be just a touch confusing, and I'm sorry, guys. It's just the way it is. You see how both of these are NS like that? Okay, so if it has an NS ending, when it gets a different ending, the S becomes a T. And I know that's a little weird. I honestly can't tell you why the Romans did this. Romans did a lot of random stuff, and this is one of the random things they did. The same would apply for dens. So instead of densem, it would be dentem. Does that kind of make sense to people? So we're going to practice a few with these. Don't look, I have the answers on my board. Oh no. We're going to do a few with those just because they are going to do this. Now, these ones are all masculine of the ones we've gone over so far. So I want you guys to make mons direct object. And that whole masculine thing is going to come into play in a second because we haven't gotten to the feminine ones yet, and feminine is just a touch different, but not that much, so don't panic. No panicking. All right, make this direct object for me. It shouldn't be mons. It has the ending, but remember, one of the letters changes. If it has that NS, something is going to happen. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boards up. The correct answer is montem. Boop. Like that. Do we all get it? Hopefully. Okay, now let's do it with our other one, because there's kind of only two that happen like this in the chapter. The other one is dens. Burp. Oh my. It's not super neat, I'm sorry. Dens, make it a direct object for me. It's also an NS. So what's going to happen to the S? And then make sure you put on the direct object ending in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boards up. Correct answer. Den. 10. All right. And that's basically it. It's very similar. It's just EM instead of UM or AM for a direct object. Now, we move on to plural direct objects. So, these are honestly really easy too. It's all going to be the same pretty much. So, instead of EM, that's the singular. The plural, no joke, ES. Like how in English it's box says ES when it's plural. Okay, so for direct object in Latin, when it's this third declension grouping, it's ES, like that. And if you're feeling fancy and want to be super on top of it and making Mrs. Straka happy, macron. So this is direct object plural for these ones. So we're going to do a little bit of practice with it. I am going to give you a word, and you are going to make it direct object plural. It follows the exact same rules as the EM. It just gets added on to the end of the word, but we're going to say it's plural instead. So let's say, someone is climbing multiple trees at once. I don't know how they do that, but maybe they would. So if someone is climbing multiple trees, maybe they're like bracing themselves between two of them. Instead of arborem, because they're climbing multiple at once, it would be arbor-ace. Arbor-ace. Just like that. All right, so whiteboard's out. We're going to do some plurals. Well, let's say there is multiple noises that are happening and somehow you're doing something to the noise. For clamor, noise, I want you to make it direct object plural. I definitely don't have the answer on my board. Hint, hint. Definitely don't look at my board. Doesn't have it on there. All right, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boards up. Clamor, ace. And if you're being super astute, the macron over the E. All right, let's do Timor, fear. Plural direct object ending, por favor. So our plural direct object for Timor, instead of Timorem, it's going to be something else. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boards up. It would be Timor-ace. Kapow. All right. Now, Mrs. Straka is going to throw you a curveball. Mwahahaha. I want mountain, but I wanted a plural direct object. Mwahahaha. Remember, the same thing that we did when it was the singular direct object, it has to do with the us, will be the same thing that we do to it for a plural direct object. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boards up. The S changes to a T, and then we add our ending, Montes. Who all got that? If you got it, I'm impressed. Good job. Way to go. All right, let's do another curveball. It's going to do the same thing the last one did. Dens, our word for tooth. Let's say the dentist comes and is pulling out multiple teeth. Multiple teeth are being pulled. I want the plural direct object ending for dens. I want you to write out the full word for me. And one of the letters has to change the same way it did for mons. All right, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boards up. The S changes to a T. Oh my goodness, what am I doing? Mrs. Straka is just messing things up, and it becomes dentes. Kapow. Now, if you didn't pick up on this already, this is actually where we get the word dentist from. It's because of these endings. Because, why not, honestly? One of the endings that does exist for these words, which we won't talk about it today, but it's is. So it's dentist. That's the genitive, the ownership one. So if you're saying like the tooth's plaque, I don't know, it would be dentis placus, I guess. So anyways, that's where we get the word dentist from, because that's someone who operates on your teeth. And the word for tooth is dens. So there you go. Fun fact of the day. All right. Hopefully we're feeling pretty confident in that. Good. Now we're going to talk really quick about the feminine. So the feminine is the exact same. No one panic. I know you want to panic. I'm not allowing you to panic right now. It's the exact same endings. However, these words all have something similar about them. These words all end already in is. Okay? So a couple good examples of this from this chapter are things like panis, bread, colis, hill, and vallis, mountain. Notice they all end in is. Now, all of our previous ones ended with r or ns or l in the case of sun, sol. These ones all end with is, but they do the same things. They have these endings. They still have these endings. The only difference is, instead of adding the ending to the end of it, because, oh my goodness, that looks terrifying, panisem. Instead, it just replaces that is ending, panem. Okay? So, these are the exact same. Only difference is, these endings replace the is ending. Is that kind of clear? Are we good? Okay, so we're going to do a couple of the feminine ones, both singular and plural, because it's the same endings. Only difference is it replaces it because there was already an ending there. All right, so let's do colis, hill. I want the singular direct object ending. Singular direct object ending for colis, hill. Remember, it replaces the is because that's its own ending, and we can't double up on endings. We can't have like 4 of them on top of each other. That would just be a nightmare. That would be terrifying. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it would be colon. Does that make sense, everybody? Are we tracking a bit? Okay. Then let's do our word for valley. Vallis. I want the direct object plural. Direct object plural. You basically only have to change one letter. Direct object plural. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boards up. Valles. Like that. And this is actually where we get the word valley from, if you couldn't tell. Okay. Is everybody feeling a bit more comfortable with that? Are we doing okay? All right, let's do one more with the feminine. We're going to do panis. I want the direct object plural. Direct object plural. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boards up. Direct object plural. Panis. Are we all tracking pretty good? Okay. Good stuff. We're going to do a really quick speed round. We're just going to do like 4 or 5 of them super fast, just as a last review. And then, guys, you've learned third declension. It's a lot easier than it sounds. It sounds crazy, but it's actually quite simple. All right. I want direct object singular ending. Go! Direct object singular ending. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boards up. Arboretum. Direct object singular. Remember, because it has that R ending, we just add to the end of it. All right. Let's do direct object plural. This is an NS ending, so remember, something has to change before we can add that ending on there. Direct object plural. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boards up. The S changes to a T. And I said direct object plural, right? Okay, direct object plural. Dentes. All right. Then let's do direct object singular. These are the feminine ones, so we have to switch out the ending. Direct object singular in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boards up. It would be pon M, because it's direct object singular. Pon M. All right, and then we're going to do one more, and it's a word we haven't done yet. So we'll see if you guys can hang with it. The word is nubis. Nubis, if you don't remember, that's a nubis. It's a cloud. I want direct object plural. Direct object plural of nubis. This one is a feminine, so you're going to need to switch out that ending. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boards up. New base. Just like that. And our final one for today. Oh my goodness. I have made an error. Mons. I want direct object singular. Direct object singular. Remember, something has to change because it currently ends with NS, and that's not going to work. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boards up. The S changes to a T, and it would be montem. All right. Good job, guys. If you need to review this, please just come back and rewatch this video. We are also going to do this for genitives, which is the possession case, remember? So like Mrs. Straka's pen, Mrs. Straka's phone, Mrs. Straka's flowers that her husband got for her. We'll go over that as well. It's going to be very similar in a lot of ways. But that is our third declension, direct objects. I know it sounds complicated. You guys did great. Thank you so much for learning with me today. Fale discipuli.